Well, I got my point across today. I went out to my car and I said, come on now. You got a made up case to watch me. It's fraud. It's fraudulent. It's a fraud case. It's fraud. With conspiracy to commit extortion, conspiracy to cover up premeditated murder. You can't enter it because it's fraud. It's made up. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. It's fraudulent. And you can't enter something that's made up that's fraud. And they went along making fun of me for drug money. Until they realized that how not funny this is. They were willing to make fun of me for them murdering me. Until how much not funny this is. Because it's fraud. Everything. They knew that police can't break in your home and watch you don't get a coroner report. They knew that. It's the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th Amendment. And they were going to do it for dirty drug money. Okay? You don't get a coroner watch somebody. It's fraud. Because when I go in places, everybody looks at me. It's not, we all know none of this is funny anymore. No, it's not. Because the shower scene in the other room and drugs and told to say stuff. And that they framed me. Okay? And that they were raping me before and all this other stuff. It's not funny. None of this is funny. Well, and then the shower scene and the drug confessions before. Under date rape drugs. So I wouldn't remember. And then and that they framed me before. No, it's not funny. None of this is funny. And they're dumb enough to rat themselves out and everybody involved. They're the stupidest criminals. You know, where I went to that Hills and Dales FBI building, they said, well, you called your sister. Well, my sister didn't understand, and they already had that man go to Paymer. And, yeah, right, they didn't know he went to Paymer. And, yeah, right, they didn't know that Dave already knew, and they didn't find their dirty cameras, and it was Dave's girlfriend's family. And, yeah, right, they didn't go out and talk to Sarah and those other 2 women. And, yeah, right, they didn't find out those cops were participating for Dave's girlfriend's family. And, yeah, right, they didn't know those men had a copy of my phone. And, yeah, right, they didn't find me drugged up. And, yeah, right, they didn't know Dave already knew. And that's why Will asked for a witness when I went to tell that guy threatened to knife me because he interrupted me and asked for a witness when I gave that hotline. And my sister didn't understand what I said because in June of 21, I'm sitting on her porch. She said, you know, when you sent those videos to Lori, my other sister, she said, you know, she asked what all the shit is because, you know, I sent those little clips of part of the case. She's like, what was that shit? You know, of where they're threatening on me. I said, well, you know, I called FBI on Dave in those churches. She's like, when'd you call the FBI? 2018. She's like, I didn't know that. See, she didn't realize I called. See, I called her. She's like, Karen, where everybody knew they were threatening my life. She's like, Karen, you called the church, the FBI on those churches. And I'm like, Pam, they're crazy. One's already told on me. They got a copy of my phone mocking me. This is crazy. And one's already told on me. And I'd have to get a prepaid phone and call you at work. This is crazy. And she's like, what? And I said, never mind. Stay out of this. I'm a big girl. I can handle this. Did I ever have to stay quiet when they already knew it was Dave's girlfriend's family bugging my house, drugging me up so I couldn't get out of bed with date rape drugs? And the dirty cops up there were doing it, photoshopping shower scenes, and it was his girlfriend's family. Date rape drugging me. And photoshopping shower scenes, I guess? No. In a fake case, a fraudulent case to commit extortion? To cover up premeditated murder? No. And it's fraud. It's a fraudulent case. It's fraud. It's conspiracy to cover up premeditated murder and conspiracy to commit extortion. And yeah, they all should have went to jail for even being in my house. And he should have arrested them. Policing agencies can only be in a state-registered protective life case with registered threat of life case with a voice recording, ask for help, stating that you want their help, they're going to protect you, and the other person knowledge. It's private property, and that the other person knows of the threat of life. And the night before, we went and dropped Sarah's card off, and I had Will's number in there. We went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton after we dropped off that card. Paul Paymer got in Dave's face. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. What's going on between you two that, and you bringing it up here, that FBI agent came up here and asked about the threat on her life? And I walk off, and then Dave comes in, let's go. You call the FBI on me, blah, 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 and swinging at me till I'm holding on the doorknob so he wouldn't hit me. I almost jumped off out of the truck because he's trying to hit me in the car. I ran for him when we got home. I almost jumped out. Next day I have to call Will, and there's men outside on the other side of the duplex making fun of me for my phone under the notes under me. I never had a stay quiet. Like hell they didn't know. Like hell. Like they said they called Will, and they exclaimed Michelle. They got to deal with him. And like hell, with me calling the 1-800 line and giving the Perry Police's information and explaining Sarah and those women, they didn't run out there themselves, and he didn't have that report. Like hell. You know, I went up and I sat outside the courthouse, and one of the bad guys that looks sort of like my friend Walter walked by. You lost everything in life, get over it. It's an extortion ring run out of that area. It's fraud what they did. It's not admissible. It's fraud. It's fraud. That's why nothing ever was said to me. It's fraud. It's fraud. It's a made-up case. Fraudulent. Well, it's fraud. It's fraud. It's fraud. You can't handle fraud. You can go to jail for fraud. You can go to jail for attempt of extortion on a fraud and attempt of murder, and to cover it up. But to cover Bull to cover his ass, opened a state case, listed me as informant. Had a cop talk to Dave. State won't close it because they haven't caught the guys. Because there's real men they hired. And the police work it because he turned it over the place. No, it's a state case. Karen around the house, state case. Please take care.